I'm Shay Strong. I am Vice President of Engineering and Product at ICEYE, specifically focused on solutions. So these are solutions that we're building from our constellation of satellites to address natural catastrophe challenges and risk, um, and really kind of touching on what Jen said at the start. How do we take imagery that we're collecting, specifically synthetic aperture radar imagery, and turn that into something impactful and powerful that addresses specific business needs, not requiring end users to have to be experts in radar data. I'll just add that I also have a very large team, about 70 people, to build these types of products. They're very multidisciplinary, anywhere from your traditional data scientists, remote sensing engineers, all the way to cloud and infrastructure engineers, security engineers, geospatial analysts. So the whole gamut is required in building these types of products. Let me just go forward, maybe. Yes. All right. And so if you're not familiar with ICEYE, which it looks like, many of you are, we're based in Helsinki. So I'm here in Finland, but we have four subsidiaries, Poland, US, UK, Spain, always growing. And we were the first to miniaturize synthetic aperture radar satellites for commercial applications. So from a commercial perspective. And as of the end of last year, we were at about 31 satellites. We're due to launch some new satellites coming up soon, which will kind of actually bring our tally closer to 40. So growing and have a lot of data swimming in those petabytes of imagery. Of course, we build the satellites. This is a picture of our lab in Finland, where we manufacture all the satellites in-house, and then of course build all the software and the applications, like I've mentioned with my team. And we have three unique business areas. So if we start on the right-hand side, satellite missions is really about creating other satellites and selling them for other entities, governments typically, deep pockets of budget and spending. But really, this is how do we create a radar satellite and then, give that to somebody else. And so everything that's involved in that, from, command and control, to being able to operate the different modalities, et cetera. So satellite as a service in a way. And then in the middle of the satellite data, of course, we can sell the imagery off the constellation, but tends to require a lot of expertise. It's radar data, so familiar from a geospatial perspective, but also not, because you have a lot of additional physics and heavy data to process that does require certain types of tooling that often are not easy to come by. So missions data, very kind of government centric, very deep analyst kind of centric. But that brings me to solutions. So on the right hand side, solutions is the domain that I manage with my team, and this is how do we take the data from our missions and convert that into impactful product, specifically around natural catastrophe. And why we focused on natural catastrophes, because SAR, independent, can be liberated from the sun, works day and night, works through clouds. So we can do a lot of really cool stuff with observing the Earth, any time of day we want, which, when it comes to catastrophes, there's a lot of obscuration generally, and time dependencies there. So last slide, unfortunately the animations don't pop out here, but I want you to first look at this very verbose slide in the yellow box. So thinking about key trends in 2025, we see a lot of kind of this missions as a service, or delivering this satellite to other countries typically that want to get into new space technology. So that is growing a lot, probably more than we expected. Of course, higher resolution, more coverage, faster downlinking, faster processing. Things just keep getting better and faster and more efficient. And then, on my side, there's generally then an exacerbation of catastrophic events. And so this is in some ways an unfortunate forcing factor towards needing solutions that are persistently monitored and available. Other speakers talked about kind of these foundational EO models. There's going to be a massive race in the coming year, a lot of great things coming out of that. And then, maybe the day-to-day pain points is how do you kind of get a multidisciplinary team to really create these robust Earth observation satellites or software as a service, so EO SaaS. Pain points, generally, so this blue box, can we create a new market and get anybody else other than defense and intelligence to really spend on EO product? Always a pain point. And then generally psychological barriers with big legacy industry, as they're very interested in figuring out how do we use EO based products to answer our questions, but fearful of maybe adopting the technology or transitioning into using it. And then also just generally specialists within the team getting a little stuck in their ways about what is required to kind of create successful EO product. On the vision side, in the red here, for ICEYE, we want to be a global source of truth for improving life on Earth. We want to ultimately eliminate a lot of bias in the decision making associated with climate risk and climate impact, and help to improve resiliency and planning at the city level, government, et cetera, like global level. And then ultimately help agencies move from being reactive to proactive. And finally, from a market expectation perspective, like everyone wants real time, like what is happening now? And again, that persistent monitoring bit is super valuable. And at the same time, dealing with clients that just maybe don't know, do they need a high accuracy answer with high precision, or can they just be settled with a more coarse situational awareness type of information? And so the claim is you need the best, highest resolution kind of insights, but really, honestly, what's good enough is maybe almost anything, because many of these other kind of legacy verticals don't have anything to fall back on. But that then brings us back to the psychological barrier of adoption. So that was a quick whirlwind shoved into 5 minutes. Thank you.